What is up? What is up? What is up? Russ Still, RussStill.com, Russ Still and the Moonshiners on streaming services and social media, the Russ Still on YouTube, and Russ Still live chat on all podcast platforms. I need to write that down so I can remember it. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, please, 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 please. Oh, me. Hope y'all doing well. It's Friday here. Let's see. Friday. Kind of a special edition. I got a new record that I was part of, played on, did some engineering and mixing on. I told them, I said, it's my first producer credit. They said I might want to wait till some folks hear it before I take credit for that. But I thought we'd talk about that a little bit. So the backstory is in 1976, I'll go back just a couple of years to set it up. 1976, Charles Edmondson and I and several of our classmates from St. James High School, go Trojans, moved to Mobile to go to the University of South Alabama. Go Jaguars. And we put in the spring of 77, we put a band together over on the Eastern Shore. It was Charles and Matt Cohn, who's also from Montgomery, who was my roommate in the dorms at University of South Alabama, and Jim Cates, who was from Spanish Fort and lived over there, and Joe Coleman, who was a guitar player that Jim had hooked up with that was from Michigan, Niles, Michigan. Joe's been missing in action. I saw him, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, but hadn't been able to track him down since. Anyway, we put a thing together, and I think we played one show in Montgomery at the Battle of the Bands, which, of course, Harmony, the great band from Kegler's Cove, played that and won. They were fantastic. I think we came in third or something like that. Anyway, we had a good time. But summer came, summer of 77, and Charles and Mac moved back to Montgomery for the summer. And I stayed in town, and we started looking for a drummer. And I was, at the time, 77, 8. I was 19 years old. And we got this guy, J.K. Terrell. And J.K. was like 28 or 29. He was like ancient to us. He was an old man. But he came in, and it clicked. And he said, we got to get a girl singer. So... okay, so the next rehearsal, he brought this girl singer. And man, she could sing, and she was good looking, and everybody was freaking out. So we had this band meeting. That's what when you're going to hire somebody new for the band, they audition, and then you leave them where in the rehearsal room or make them go outside. And then you have a band meeting to decide their fate. And everybody was freaking out about having this girl. And I said, well, if we're going to have a girl in the band, it has to be completely professional. Okay, that sounds fair. And of course, within a month, we were living together, and we were together for 28 years. And so that was fun. And of course, I didn't follow my own advice, but that was good times. And so we had this girl, Michelle Coley at the time, Michelle Still later on, and J.K. and Jim Cates and Joe Coleman and me. And we got a gig at, first gig I think was going to be at the Beach Club in Pascagoula, if I recall correctly. And it was a 6-hour show, probably, I don't know, 8 to 2 or 9 to 3 or something, and we had 3 sets worth of material. So we played our 3 sets, and then we started over again. Quality operation we had going. But J.K. had talked some friends. J.K. had been living in, J.K. was from Mobile, but he'd been living in southern Florida, Sarasota, and he'd been playing with some guys down there, and he talked two of them into coming up to visit. And J.K.'s always running, to this day, is always running some kind of line of something. Got some kind of something in the works. Anyway, I think he had his mind on getting them in the band, which is fine. And they ended up being in the band, but they came up to visit, and they sat in with us at the beach club, and it was fun. And so this was Phil Ward, the guitar player, and Little Steve, I call him Little Stevie Reager, the singer. And he and Michelle were a force to reckon with. They put on just a show. A show when they sang, just doing all this acting out, all this stuff, and it was crazy. But it was a good band called Southern Sun. And so, well, ultimately, they moved to Mobile. They lived out in Coden, which is southwest Mobile County, I think. It's over towards Mississippi. They lived down there. And we started rehearsing and did some shows. And then we decided in the winter of 78, this all happened pretty quick. That was August of 77. Winter of 78, we were going out on the road. And my parents had a fit about that. They said, "Well, you're going to quit school. We're not going to support you." And blah, blah, blah. I said, "Okay, well, that's fine." And they didn't, but I went out anyway, and we just about starved to death. I remember J.K. was recalling some event we played in Thomasville, Georgia, and the lady couldn't pay us. Said, "Well, I'm not going to be able to pay you till Monday," and he said it was $500, not a piece, $500 for the band for like a 3 or 4 night worth of shows. 7 of us, $500, and I think they had some rooms included on that, but we just didn't have any money. And turns out we broke, I'm probably leaving some stuff out, but I remember we went to Moultrie after Thomasville, and we'd had some pretty good gigs. We played Machine Gun Kelly's in Pensacola, and played at Newbies on the Beach in Panama City. And I mean, we were staying busy. But the kind of things started tracking down after Thomasville. We went to Moultrie, which is a very small town just north of Thomasville. Thomasville has the largest oak tree east of the Mississippi. That's what it's known for, I think. Maybe some other stuff, but that's what I remember. Went to Moultrie and played. These 3 brothers had this bar. And we played there for 2 weeks. The first week we played, it went well, but they had a lot of people coming in, and they said, "Well, we're not going to be we were sleeping 4 to a room in this kind of rundown motel, 20-room motel." And I got the Russian flu, and my parents were coming through town, and they stopped to see us, and my mother was just mortified. Mortified. I was sick as shit, and they would take me to the club, and they had a little pallet set up behind the gear on stage, and I'd lay down and take a nap, and they'd go, "It's time to play now." And they'd get me up. There's a picture of me somewhere floating around. I'm just sick as a dog up there playing. My hair's all messed up, and I'd play the set, and I just like my fever was like 104 or something. They'd lay me back down in the next set. Time to get up and play again. Anyway, my mother was freaking out, and what in the world was going on with her baby, And we got done with that week, and they said, "Well, we can't keep you in the hotel. We don't have enough money." Said, "We can put you in our homes." And that was just a mess. So these 3 brothers split up the band, and Michelle and I stayed in somebody's house, maybe with somebody else. I don't remember the living arrangements, but it was a mess. All these little kids running around some of the houses and doing crazy stuff. But we broke up Steve and Phil were like, "We can't do this anymore." So the band broke up, and we were trying to stay together, and it just wasn't going to be the same. So we broke up and got off the road. I think Michelle and I had $40 to our name, as I recall. I remember borrowing $300 from her dad to rent a trailer to live in. But things turned around, as they always do. Works out, always turns out for the best somehow. I don't know, but that case, it was pretty low there for a little bit, but we survived it. But anyway, moving on to more current times, J.K. and I had stayed in touch. J.K. started teaching at the University of Alabama and taught there for 20 years or more, maybe, retired from up there. And we'd been in touch, and he said, you know, we need to go down to South Florida and hook up with Steve and Phil. So in May of 2021, we went down there, and Steve's wife's mother had some apartments, and one of them was available, and they let us stay in there. It was nice enough, furnished, and there was a one bedroom, so I slept on the pull-out couch, which was fine, and we ate and laughed and carried on about, just told lies and laughed more and went out on the river. But we jammed two times for hours. Got a bass player, Swampy Dixon, Jimmy Swampy Dixon, and some drummer they knew, and Dwayne Freeman came over and played some saxophone, and I was playing keyboards, and J.K. was playing percussion and harmonica, and Steve was singing, and Phil was playing guitar. And so we had just a big old time. Well, this motivated Steve to start working on writing some songs. He hadn't done it in years, and so he started sharing these tracks with us, and he and Phil and Jimmy would get together on Wednesdays. They lived in Punta Gorda. I probably didn't make that clear. Punta Gorda, Florida, and would write songs on Wednesdays. They'd get together and go to, I can't remember the name of the skis, something ski, some breakfast place, brunch place. But they'd have breakfast 8 o'clock in the morning and go over to Steve's house and work on tunes and send us these tracks. So we had a bunch of songs kind of in the works, and some of them were close to being finished and some not at all. So we decided we were going to get together to work on these songs more and write some more. So we, 1st of April, I think it was the 4th, J.K. and I booked our flights, and on the 7th, Steve died. It was tragic. He had a heart attack. He'd had a pacemaker and had some heart problems, but he had been feeling really well, and just all of a sudden had this major heart attack and died. It was tragic, tragic, tragic. So sad. But we said, we're coming down anyway, and his wife, Marcia, was nice enough to put us up in number 8 at the apartments again and give us access to the house where all the recordings were, and we had 4 days to put these songs together. And as I said, some of them were all but done, and some of them were just real rough, maybe guitar, vocal. But we, in 4 days, finished 9 songs, and we did a record. It's called, I don't know if y'all can see it this way, Steve Reager and the Swamp Brothers. The record's called Family. And we put that together for his celebration. Has 5 kids and 13 grandkids, and with spouses and cousins and 100 people in the family. So anyway, we did this CD, and I'm proud of it. There's some of the songs are good. It's a rock thing. It sounds some of it they say sounds. There's some 10cc in there. There's some Santana kind of feel in there. There's some Super Tramp kind of feel in there. I hear all that. You might listen to it and think I've lost my mind, and that's okay. Some of it sounds like some rough live Rolling Stones because it's kind of janky. But I thought it would be interesting. I'm going to give y'all, I'm going to say this a couple of times, but you can find it on all the streaming services and YouTube. Steve Reager, R-E-A-G-E-R, and the Swamp Brothers. Or there's a link tree. If you don't know what link tree is, go to L-I-N-K, linktr.ee/the Swamp Brothers. And that'll give you a bunch of links to various streaming platforms and YouTube and get you there quicker if you can't remember otherwise. But 9 songs here. I'm just going to run through maybe a verse and a chorus of each. I can't quite figure out how to get my audio on this, so I'm going to play my iPhone into my microphone. It probably won't sound all that great, but it kind of give you an idea of what's going on. First song is called Swampy Deals, and with the Swamp Brothers. And we had been out on the river. The whole background of the record is I can't remember what the name of the river is down there in Punta Gorda, but we'd go and we'd go out and Captain Tommy Goucher was our captain of the boat. He's a boat engine guy down there and been friends with Steve and Phil since they were kids, I guess. And he's the safety coordinator for the record. They were having regular safety meetings, and if you get my drift, and they stayed pretty safe. I didn't actually participate in the safety meetings, but I did witness a number of them. And it's legal in Florida, so there's that. Swampy Deals is track number 1. Anyway, that's kind of an idea about how Swampy Deal goes. The next one is called I Followed Love. And Steve, these are what you're hearing here is the musician Steve Reager is written the lyrics on all the songs except Hearts Are Still, which J.K. wrote. And Phil and Steve and Swampy Dixon wrote the music to most of the other songs. Dwayne Freeman helped with some of the music on some of the songs. But Steve, it's all his vocals. Phil's playing guitar, Swampy's playing bass. I'm playing keys. JK's playing percussion and or drums. And that's kind of how it lays out. I Followed Love.
I recall last night was in a dream when I met the stranger in his eyes that gleam, and around him shone light, oh so sweet. He spoke to me with a voice unheard, understood without a single word. He popped up the answer, then he turned to go. So I followed him over hill and dale, over field and stream. Was it in a dream? Brought to the forest with the trees.
That's how that one goes. This one is called Holidays in the Park. Holidaze. Holidays, dazed, in the trailer park.
Out there's in trailer park, buddy bottle knocking. Come in, sit right down, get this party rocking. Out back, the barbecue, the fire pit burning. There's a clipboard over there for no competition. Hot dogs, apple pie, apple ribbon biscuit. I took deep fried cruise over there. Spring, winter, summer.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. Steve wrote some cool lyrics. Here's one called Gator Jim and Sue's Zoo. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. He's very creative. Little Stevie Reager.
Down by the water, there's a man named Gator Jim.
I want to get to the. There's a JK's a great harmonica player too. Let's see if we can get to that. So that was cool. That's JK on harmonica, little organ solo by me, and Phil playing his father's resonator guitar, which is very cool. Here's a track called Me and You. Nice. That's a good one. Here's a good one. I like this one a lot, called Tired Fool. Nice, really nice guitar work by Phil on that one. You know, it's funny. I was just thinking, one of the funny stories, well, there's just so many stories to tell from those just 3 months. It felt like it was 3 years on the road. But we would go. We had no money. I can't stress that enough. How poorly funded this operation was. Oh, and I can't go without mentioning L.T. McGahee. Don McGahee ran lights for us to start with. And Don, bless his heart, Don used to get so anxious before we played. We couldn't play until Don had thrown up. Not from getting high, just from getting over the anxiety of making sure the light show was perfect for the music, you know. So Don, you thrown up yet? Yeah, no, not yet. Okay, we'll give you 5 more minutes. And then Jimbo, and I can't remember Jimbo's last name. He was from Montgomery. He went out on the road with us a little while. I remember in Moultrie, Jimbo was like, JK! JK was talking to this agent who was looking to book us. He was like, JK, man, these chicks, they're waiting on us. Come on, man. JK goes, hold on, Jimbo. But no money. So that not only 7 people in the band, but we had a crew, a one-man crew, 8 people. And just living the dream, man. But we would go into town and we would find the buffet, all-you-could-eat buffet, and we'd find a grocery store and we'd buy a couple dozen eggs and a 10-pound bag of potatoes. So we would be up all, we'd play and then we'd just stay up most of the night. And then we'd sleep in and we'd get up and go to the buffet and just stuff ourselves with as much as we possibly could eat and take as much home as we thought we could get away with and eat that through the rest of the day, take a nap, get up and get ready, play the show, come home and eat some eggs and potatoes. And that's all we had. It was a mess. It was a mess. Here's a fun one. Sounds like a Cars tune, and it's called My Friend's Car. This is the one that sounds a little janky. You get into it a little bit. I mean, we're working on digital audio workstation interface using Studio One for most of this stuff, and it's all on the grid. I mean, that's how you do. That's why music sounds perfect. But some of this doesn't sound perfect. In fact, I say it's perfectly imperfect. It gets off track a little bit on this song. I'll try to get out before it gets there. But if you hear it again, you'll know what I'm talking about. It ends up back together, though. There you go, My Friend's Car. Here's another good one. J.K. wrote the lyrics on this called Hearts Are Still. And I think if you go to theswampbrothers.com, that there's some backstory on a lot of these songs. Some of these Steve had played in years past, written maybe with some other people, and we reconfigured them. But I think there's some backstory there. Anyway, that'd be interesting to know more about this if you were interested. Here's Hearts Are Still. Cool breakdown in that little reminds me of Rossington Collins' Don't Misunderstand Me. That kind of slow down break in the middle of that song is pretty cool. Now here's one, the last song that Steve wrote and the last song that he sang. Please Hold. That's the one that gets me. Very poignant. Please hold. Bless his heart. Little Stevie Reager, man, he was a force for love and just what a great spirit. We'll miss him, but his voice lives on, and I know he lives on in the hearts of his kids and grandkids and family and friends and a bunch of them down in South Florida and really just all over the country. I think that's enough of all that. Hope y'all have enjoyed it, got something out of it. Hope you'll go listen to that record in full. That's worth a listen through. And y'all be kind to one another. You know, this is one of those examples where you never know when the last time you're going to talk to somebody. So love somebody, hug somebody you love, hug somebody you don't love so much. Time to mend those fences, make those amends. Y'all be safe.